A very good day to Doctor and my students. Today we are from Group 3. We are going to discuss about the school-based assessment. So today we are going to plan to do the meeting, that is our role play, to discuss about the school-based assessment as well. Okay, first and foremost, we would like to introduce our teammates. First, and myself is Stephen Rasmunyandi as Assistant Officer of Assessment and Examination of District Education Office. And second, Anusha Rajamogan as a Principal, Praveen as a Principal, Shantini as a Principal, and Danish Babu as a Principal. Okay, next. Today we are going to conduct a meeting based on school-based assessment. So the agenda will be the definition of the school-based assessment, the role of the school-based assessment, the component of the school-based assessment, pro and cons of school-based assessment implementations, and last but not least, alternative assessment. Like we start. Okay, before further go into the meeting, we would like to discuss the issues that have been we chosen to discuss. First and foremost, last year, 2021, Ministry of Education, Dr. Muhammad Razri, already announced that UPSR was abolished and PD3 was cancelled due to the pandemic. So UPSR was substituted with the school-based assessment. So we can see that school-based assessment is already implementing primary school and secondary school. So P3 is school-based assessment is one of the component that been important for the new teachers to understand the component as well. For today, we are here to discuss the issues that new teachers are facing the difficulty to apply the school-based assessment in their classroom. So let's go to our meeting as well. Okay. Hi guys, a very good day. Today I'm here to discuss about a meeting then based on school-based assessment. I hope we already aware with the discussion with the issues. Okay, before we start our meeting, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Stephen Ras, as an Assistant Officer of Assessment and Examination of Education District of Kubang Pasu. Okay, today the main topic of our discussion is school-based assessment. Okay, as we know, school-based assessment is an assessment that we implement since 2021. Apart from that, last year our Ministry of Education, Dr. Muhammad Razdi, announced that UPSR examination was abolished and changed to the school-based assessment, an attempt to replace the public examinations such as UPSR, PMR, and so on, which is substituted with the effective started way, which is from 2011, which is school-based assessment. Starting from 2022, the PT3 will be implemented or will be resumed back, which is like we as teachers, we should make sure that the teachers, especially the new teachers, use the appropriate assessment to evaluate the students based on the school-based assessment. You guys are agreed with the statement that I giving?
Good day, sir. We agreed and we were aware of the statement which you explained just now about the issue regarding the school-based assessment SBA, which will start implemented again in 2022. I would like to add on this issue where teachers are still confused about the school-based assessment, especially the new teachers. The introduction of SBA in Malaysian school has certainly been gaining momentum. However, its continuous progress will depend on the teacher's conviction and support for it. It is conventional wisdom that teachers are the most important catalyst for any educational uh, reform. They need to understand and appreciate the wellness of SBA. As per stated, Kalai 2018 indicates that teachers often face difficulties in applying their new ideas into classroom practices due to unclear or understanding about what the new curriculum entails.
Yes, you are right, Ansha. And first and foremost, I strongly believe that we should explain the concept of SBA to the new teacher via the courses because they can improvise themselves. Okay, what is a school-based assessment? Okay, as we are familiar, the usage of SBA. In 2021, the Malaysian Ministry of Education, also known as MOE, launched a comprehensive review with the education system which is like developing a new national blueprint, also known as Plan Pembangunan Pendidikan Malaysia 2013 until 2025. The new national education blueprint is an initiative taken by the Malaysian government to transform the education system to have a quality standard to recognize internationally. SBA is a part of the educational transformation with the objective to enhance the effectiveness of our educational system, which is assessing students assessment, which the teachers can access the students based on the various assessment type such as observation, quizzes, testers, and students presentation, project works, and experiments in their daily life as well. So apart from that, SPA also allow the teachers to collect the samples based on the students' performance, which is like for the certain period where they can finalize the collection of the data can turn to the result of the achievement of the students that I can teachers evaluate them. Besides that, school-based assessment also allow the teacher to gather the information of the purpose of the reflection and improvement for the instruction and the students base as well. Okay, I think maybe the definition is clear. So how about the different role that we should discuss about that?
Well, Mr. Diban, regarding the definition, as you said, the definition has have been already clear crystal here. But the problem is nowadays the teachers are still not familiar with the role of SBA. Okay, for example, Diana at the year of 2020, she have been emphasized that students are required to master thinking skills in order to deal with many situations that arise in the 21st century. Based on my point of view, okay, it has been clearly stated that teachers' role under the school-based assessment are so vital because it is mainly for the students' educational growth. This is because teachers should be good navigators, okay, in students' lives, so that the students are able to choose a correct pathway. Okay, but nowadays things do not work as in the old days. This is because when teachers teach students and get to see their progress at the end of the examination, okay, but the way of teaching keeps changing according to the students' needs and behaviors. So under the school-based assessment, teachers should look at the students' progress from time to time based on the task given to them. So these are the main difference that we are able to see under the teachers role, teachers role, because in past the method of the way of teaching, it's totally different than for today's in the current days, which under the school based assessment. So how about the point of view that I've proposed? What do you think, Miss Siva?
So, well, I would like to add some point regarding Mr. Previn's discussion that actually assessment, conducting formative assessment during the learning process and also summative assessment, which is normally carried out at the conclusion of learning unit or at the end of the year. This does not mean that teachers have to create test papers or handout as instruments every time they wish to assess a student's achievement. Teachers may carry out creative activities that are fun and enjoyable to gather information about their students' learning progress, such as homework quizzes, question and answer sessions, and even observation are all example activities that teacher could use as instruments to access students' development and growth. This is from my point of view, Mr. Praveen.
Okay. Yes, I truly agree with Miss Siva. This is because teachers should understand about the type of assessment, okay, and then furthermore the activities. We need to focus on the activities, where the activities should be creative, where the students need to come up with a creative way based on the assignment or task that given by the teachers. And it should be challenging in order to see their ability, the students' ability to achieve the activities. Okay, in order we can say that the task that given by the teachers should be creative, and at the same time it should be challenging among students. Okay, here under Sba, the students' achievement should be reported with bands. Okay, for example, like we have band 1 until band 6. Okay, rather than the old days method, which is grading system, where we have grade A, B, C, or else based on the scores. Okay, example like if a student have gotten like 80%, so it's all based on scores. But nowadays under the school-based assessment, we are more on bands. Okay, and here PBS makes it possible for teachers to provide immediate feedback to students at each stage of the learning curve. As I said, that this is because they have been analyzing the students at the time to time basis. So here they are keep updating with the students' progress. Okay, the feedback based on the performance standard will enable the teachers and students to identify their strength and weakness during the learning process. Yeah, here due to their getting into the analysis of the students by time to time basis, they can know the strength and the weakness of the students immediately, and not compared to the achievement of their peers. So we need to focus on it. Okay, we need to think about it. Only the performance must be in a main concentration, not the achievement of the students based on their gradings. Okay, and then the only difference now is that teachers have to record students learning progress systematically. They have to record it at the time to time basis. In order to help teachers record, there is a examination syndicate which helps them to develop the PBS management system, which is SPPBS, which is a web-based. Okay, under this they can record and can report the students' progress at time to time basis. Okay, and there is also a version of a standalone version where for schools that do not have access to the internet, so teachers also can be used the standalone version in case there have been no access of the internet.
Yes, we understand. Okay, besides that, the reliability of the assessment conducted by teachers is supervised through a good quality assurance. The work of the students is used as evidence that needs to be filed up systematically. This work shows that capability of the students to master the skills needed for a particular topic as a part of the learning outcome. Okay, teachers also need to be monitored, so it will be help and facilitate and be guidelines for them. This may lead them to implement the school-based assessment in accordance with the established procedures and rules, and also can be implemented formally and
It's okay. Maybe Miss Anisha have some technical issues, so that's normal for our online meeting as well. So maybe she has explained about the role of SBA as well. So maybe we can move to the point of view of Praveen as well. So what is your opinion about the in the overall? Is there the role of SBA still implement according to the principle, according to the policy as well?
Well, we can say that teachers' role under the school-based assessment can bring a huge changes among students. This is because students' progress and their improvements are the teachers' victory. So I hope the school-based assessment can bring a huge changes among students' progress and their improvements in their educational growth. So to maintain it, teachers, the role of the teachers is very, very, very important, where they have to be creative in giving tasks not based on the giving a test paperwork or any handouts. It's not based on that. The creativity, it's much more wide, where they have to give in such as like quizzes, okay, any observations type of task. Okay, so this will encourage the students to perform well and get to improve in their educational growth.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Praveen. Maybe thank you for your opinion as well, for Shiva, Anisha, and for opinion about the role of the SBA. So apart from my opinion that the role is quite important for the teachers as well to implement in themselves. So in my perspective, the new teachers are is lack of expertise in the understanding of the concept as well. So as we know, SBA is the holistic assessment to test the cognitive, executive, and psychometric aspect aligned with the national philosophy of education and the curriculum of Malaysia. That is, as we know, SBA consists of two components. First is like academic, and second is non-academic. The both categories give recognition and autonomy to the teachers to evaluate the performance of the students based on the summative and the formative assessment as well. So what is your opinion about your perspective, Babu, about the academic concept?
I truly agree with you, Mr. Stephen. New teachers shall differentiate the concepts of school-based assessment. I say this because, firstly, the academic category consists of two two main components. One is central assessment. In Malay, we call it as Pentaksiran Pusat. And the second one is classroom assessment. We call it as Pentaksiran Bididarja, PBD. Well, for central assessment, those are the assessments that are administered, checked, and recorded at the school level, and it's managed by teachers based on the assessment rules, instruments, guidelines, which are set by our Malaysian examination syndicate, Lembaga Peperiksaan Malaysia, within a specified period. Okay, they have a specified period to set that, and also according to the subject. Each subject have their each set of rules. Then next component is about classroom assessment. This assessment is planned, constructed, administered, and reported by the relevant school teachers. I mean, in short, it's totally managed by teachers themselves only. Moreover, classroom assessments can be classified into two, which are formative assessment and also summative assessment. Well, for formative assessment, it is conducted together with the teaching and learning process during the class time. So teacher will use formative assessment when teacher is teaching in the class during that time. Example of instruments that teachers can use are worksheets, exercises, quizzes, and also homeworks. Whereas if you see for the summative assessment, it is conducted at the end of each topic. So it is carried out at the end of each topic after the teacher finishes each topic, or it can be carried out at the end of month, or can be, for example, the final examination. I think we all go through the final examination. So it's most probably it will carry out during the end of the year like that.
Okay, Mr. Tiban, sorry for the connection just now. Okay, I would like to continue about while the non-academic category consists of physical activities such as sports and curriculum assessment, which is pentaksiran activity jasmani, and dan co-curriculum we known as a PAJSK, and psychometric assessment, which is pentaksiran psychometric, PPSI. The third component is physical activity, sports and curriculum assessment. This assessment is guide to evaluate physical and health activity, as well as measure the participation, involvement and achievement of students in various sports, curriculum and extracurriculum activities. In addition, it requires students to engage in non-academic activities either inside or outside the classroom according to the student's ability. It was developed to complement the education assessment system in Malaysia to be holistic and integrated. Moreover, it also focuses on the development of human capital and the development of students' potential in terms of physical, emotional, spiritual and intellectually, which is known as a JERI, as intended in National education philosophy, which is Falsafah Pendidikan Kebangsaan (FPK). Last but not least, the fourth assessment is psychometric assessment, which is psychometric assessment is a method used systematically to collect information regarding the psychological traits. Psychological traits measure included students' aptitude and personality information. The finding of psychometric assessment can be used to improve the students' learning. In short, teachers measure students' aptitude, personality, thinking, and problem-solving skills. Elements under psychometric assessment not formally covered in the content of syllabus and emphasized in the curriculum. It measures initiate ability, acquire through experience and from the environment regarding the students.
We can see that the both like academic and non-academic component is like beneficial. They have a lot of the categories inside that. So in my opinion that I have like went through some articles before this, like Fogg and the Sindhu 2016. They also suggest that teachers with the insufficient of assessment knowledge, especially like how to evaluate and how to like evaluate the students as well, they are like still are lacking of that. So I think like Chu and also like another Muhammad 2017, they also implement that further aged, further angry that teachers also with the lack of the knowledge and the skills in the implementation of SBA in a school. So for sure that I have been the idea that implementation of SBA, sure there will have a pro and cons to implement in our classroom as well. Therefore, risk or that's beneficial for us. So what are your opinions, Shiva, about the pro and cons of the school-based assessment?
Yes, Stephen, here I would like to add some things about SBA approach in Malaysia's current curriculum is a major shift from the centralized assessment, as how Babu said just now. Approach in the past. In the age of 4IR, where 21st century skills are much demanded, it is only imperative that the government join the race of education reforms all over the world. However, SBA have their own and cons as well. We can say that the most prevailing pros of the implementation of SBA school based on assessment is that students can be accessed more accurately through SBA. The idea is that since the teachers know their students well, teachers are able to design various types of assessment for students to evaluate them. Therefore, SBA provides a flexible platform for teachers to access their students. The assessment can be modified according to the habits and behavior of the student so that they can achieve the best easier. Some students may prefer activity-based assessment or task-based assessment, but some may not, so that teacher can have different types of assessment in different class. In other words, we can say that not all the students in the same form are necessarily going to have the same type of assessment. It's an effort to help weaker students to get at least band 1, even better bands, which is the assessment given. That's all from me, Stephen.
Okay, it's interesting to hear from your opinion, Shiva, because that is true also. Then I am agreed in terms of that. So maybe the Pravin, your opinion about you want to add on some pro of the implementation of SB as well?
Yes, Mr. Ivan. I actually really agreed with the point that I've given by Miss Siva. And apart from that, SBA adds do adds more quality to the assessment of the students. Unlike the previous tests in school, the MCQ test is very rare in SBA. Okay, as a consequence, students' assessment results are more reliable because they must have the knowledge of the topic or must master a particular skills, and then they should think critically in order to answer the questions in a test or in an assessment activity, not through luck actually. Okay, and furthermore, the quality of the assessments through SBA school paper is improved through the new grading system, as I mentioned before, by using band, okay, band 1 till band 6. So the new grading system really helps the teachers to identify what students can do or can understand and what they cannot when the students are graded by bands, because each bands have a specific unique performance level, okay, where they can measure it by with the students. So if the students if the qualification is really high on it, so obviously they will get on into band 6. So because there is a standard for band 6, okay, if how about if the students in a middle range or like that, means sure they will be in a band 3 or band 4, unless if a student is really weak, we can't even able to see any performance level, they are in a minimum range of level, so they should be in a categorized under band 1. So these are the improvements, okay, improvements that we are seeing in the new grading system under the school-based assessment. So that's all I just want to add it on regarding the school-based assessment.
Okay, so there is a like pros, sure, that is like cons about the implementation. So what are your opinions about the cons of the implementation of SBA in our current scenario?
It was very true said by Mr. Praveen. SBA also has some difficulties. The SBA system is very time consuming for teachers together with the students. This is because teachers have to teach all the test elements followed by showing the students the requirements and instruction to get the band in all assessment. It is very necessary. And then the assessment activity will be carried out, and teachers then have to observe all the students and grade them if they show evidence that they can get the band. If some students they are not able to achieve the targeted band, teachers have to repeat another similar assessment activity to assess the student again and again until the students achieve at least band 1 or even better bands from band 2 till band 6. It is difficult for teachers to exclude the other students who have already achieved targeted band in their given assessment. Hereby, the other students also have to spend extra time to participate in the given assessment just to accompany their weaker classmates.
Well, okay, it's also seem the point of view is like it's really relevant to the current scenario. So how about you, Babu? So is there you are supporting the points or you still have some points to add on about the cons of the implementation?
Yes, I have some points. First of all, can you hear my voice?
Yeah, it is clear, but Dennis, but we cannot see your camera.
Sorry, I am having some technical issues, so I think never mind. I will just share my points first. I
Yeah,
will go
sure.
through it. Right. So what my point is based on what Shiva has told. School-based assessment system rarely assesses students through formal tests, where students are not given marks anymore. Students do not understand the importance of the subject, and thus they neglect their study on the subject. By this, teachers are also troubled with students' reaction towards school-based assessment. I say this because they cannot get students to participate seriously in assessing activities during class time. Therefore, the seriousness of students is not there when there are no public examination. So as a result, we can see that students do not know what their level is, and they can be quite frustrated because they are not sure how good they have done or how good they have achieved in their life or how bad they have done in the previous assessment. Moreover, I add on that school-based assessments adds workload for teachers as well. Teachers have to attend seminars, they have to go to training to be briefed on the new system so that teachers know how to create the unique assessment activities, worksheets, tests, as well, and many more.
Well, it's like after hearing from the Praveen, Shiva, and Babu as well, there is like pro and cons that we as teachers should be differentiate and where is like more whereas and low as well. So assessment in school is very beneficial in my opinion to allow the teachers to access the students' understanding like what they are should focus on at what at that particular period. It also can be source for the stress as well for the people, especially for the students, for the teachers, and extra when assessment is counted toward the qualification as well. Besides the school-based assessment, alternative assessment is also one of the method that evaluates students' levels of the provisions in the subjects for opens the students' levels. about their knowledge, the skills subject, such as science subjects, mathematics, and extra. The overall goal of the alternative assessment is allowing the students to demonstrate what they are thinking, what they are doing. So, is there? I think Mr. Anusha is the better person to explain about the alternative assessment since last week she went for the course for the alternative as well. So, can you explain more about the alternative?
Yes, sure, Mr. Gibbon. Alternative assessment is a performance test or authentic assessment is a well-known assessment method because it is deeply rooted in one's ability to do something by leveraging new gain knowledge. Okay, alternative assessment, on the other hand, can access higher order thinking skill. Students have the opportunity to demonstrate what they have learned. Okay, these type of assessment tools focus on the growth and the performance of the students. That is, if a learners is failed to perform a given task at a particular time, they still have the opportunity to demonstrate their ability at a different time and at a different situation. Okay, since alternative assessment is developed in context and over a time, the teacher has a chance to measure the strength and the weakness of the students, okay, in a variety of areas and situation. Okay, that's all from my side. I would like to ask Mr. Babu to add on something on the alternative assessment.
Thank you, Mr. Anisha. As you said, I agree with you. But besides that, I also have some points to add on alternative assessment. Alternative assessment also accommodates different learning styles. For example, if a student is kinesthetic learner, for example, they are likely to perform better when demonstrating their skills and their talents. Similarly, auditory learners may excel when they are given the opportunity to present their work orally. So when they are presenting, the auditory learners they can present well. Moreover, restricting assessments to one standardized style directly contradicts the way we teach. What I can conclude that by incorporating different types of alternative assessment into reporter, which can ensure that students are assessed in a way that best reflects their learning style. So that's all from me.
Yes, Babu. Sorry for bothering. In my opinion, when alternative assessment are used, we have the opportunity to access students on concept and skills that were taught last week, last month, or even last year. Where end of the year standardized tests attempt to do this, where it places a considerable emphasis on what a student is able to remember rather than what they can do. In contrast, alternative assessment allows one to take a broad overview of a student's progress instead of simply finding out what information they have retained. We can determine whether particular concepts remain part of their knowledge and whether thought skills are still demonstrable, while memory skills are also important for a students where they could enhance the ability to remember facts. Here I would like to emphasize that when you use alternative assessment, we can gain a better insight into how a student's learning aims are developing in the long term. This is my opinion, Mr. Babu.
Okay, I think maybe Anisha can give a conclusion about the it's random. What's the alternative as well?
Okay, as a result, as we discussed earlier, I think there is no best way to access. I think you all guys also agree with me because a balanced approach between school-based assessment and alternative assessment is critical. While we thinking to decide what assessment to use, we need to consider about the issues such as content, context, and audience. It's depending on the nature of instruction. A combination of both assessment techniques might be useful. That's all from my side, Mr. Tiban.
Okay, well, so thank you for your opinion as well for Anisha, Shiva, and Babu as well. Overall, we already discussed about the definition, the role, the component, the pro and cons of implementation of school-based assessment, and the authentic and the alternative assessment as well. Okay, overall, in the nutshell, I can conclude that the teachers have the different understanding about the school-based assessment, and they tend to apply the SBA as what they are understood. It's a normal human being as well. So these difference, right, the questions about the deep of the information, what they receive during the various training, what they have been exposed to be. So what these teachers are need to going is like ongoing support, the course, so they can have a clear picture about the nature of SBA as well. So I hope that you guys also agreed about this and how it can be carried is like how the assessments can carry in the classroom as well. Perhaps so the incentive going like training, the possibility on on-site, off-site, in the forum of action of the researchers and the activity is the intent of the us to perform well, to have a better outcome in SB as well. So in other words, trainee teachers and the new teachers need to work together to realize to realization ataupun to realizing the objective of SBA in the nature of the classroom as well. So thank you for your time, Ms. Anush, Ms. Shiva, Babu, and Praveen to have a discussion to us in the, even though in the online basing. So our conclusion that I conclude again that starting from this year, empowering of the school-based assessment (PBS), the classroom assessment, will be implemented for PT3. I hope you guys as a principal inform to the teachers of the appoint the person in charge to use the best assessment to evaluate the student. The best important for our is the quality of the students and education as well. So I thank you for your time and thank you for our discussion as well. So we can meet in our further discussion as well. Thank you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Stephen. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Stephen and everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Stephen, and everyone for having me here.
Okay, thank you guys. Okay, today we have went to a meeting about the school-based assessment. I hope you guys understand what are the school-based assessment, but not don't worry about that. We also going to prepare a documentation in Bahasa as well. We will give you in term of the PDF form in the next class as well. So these are the reference that we are using to analyze about the school-based assessment as well. So last but not least, the important task, there will be a quiz based on what are the we are meeting we are present inside the meeting as well. So don't miss it. The meeting will be carried out after this video. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Have a